Hi, I'm Dr. Matt B, and these are your emotional minutes, and welcome back. And I was actually just sitting here doing some music production and creation, and this is actually something that I've gotten into a little bit lately and really been wanting to learn more about. Ooh, I like that. And I found that for me, this is actually a really engaging activity. And engaging activities is one of those things that can actually boost positive emotions and boost your mood. Now, what do I mean when we say, or when I say engaging activity? Really, an engaging activity is something that really captures your attention and something that you really stay focused on for a long period of time. And it really feels like time just sort of doesn't go by. Really, engaging activities like this have actually really been found to show really good benefits for your mood and for emotions. Part of the reason for that is that while you're staying really focused and attentive on a task, it really kind of gives the individual or you as the person really a good sense of mastery and almost a sense of accomplishment when you finish something. Sometimes people report not really feeling like a ton of pleasure per se in the moment when they're doing it, but then later on they really report that it was a really enjoyable thing to do and it's something that's really reinforcing and that they want to go back and do that thing again. And so really what can happen with doing a lot of these really engaging activities is that again your mood can increase, and again due to that sense of mastery or accomplishment that people often get when they're in those tasks and really sort of engaged in them. Also, it really does help that powerful effect we've talked about before of really focusing your attention away from negative material or negative situations that might be occurring, and really more toward the positive. And again, this has a really beneficial effect of providing a protective factor or a buffer against things like anxiety, depression, things like that. Now, really, some examples of really engaging tasks are things like, for example, learning a song on a musical instrument, or playing a musical song, or improvising musically with other people if you're into music. But it can also be things like doing crafts at home, or an art project, drawing, painting, something like that. Things like just doing puzzles. Or maybe reading up on things that are really intriguing or interesting to you. One thing I like to read up on sometimes is history. I just get really interested in it for some reason. And really, the biggest point about this is again, not what the activity is, but if it's something that you really enjoy and is really engaging for you, something that kind of captures your attention and you get really into, and it seems like the time doesn't pass or kind of passes very quickly. Now, sometimes people say, well, how do I know if something is engaging? And actually, typically something is engaging if it's sort of mild to moderately challenging, but not too challenging that it might produce anxiety, or might be something that you find so difficult that you just say, I don't want to do this, or it doesn't feel like something I want to, it feels like something that's impossible, for example. And then it also wants to be something that that's not too easy, right? That you're not too bored with. Because being in that kind of mild to moderate level of difficulty kind of makes you more intrigued with it and almost creates sort of a mild challenge that you can stay engaged in and that can provide that sense of mastery. And a lot like what we talked about in last episode when we talked about pleasurable or enjoying activities, really, again, this is something that would be sort of determined by you and what you find engaging. So this is something that you can really sit down and kind of draw out a list. What are the things that are engaging for you and engaging for that way that are somewhat challenging, but not too boring, but not too challenging or anxiety provoking. Another thing about this piece or this type of activity, similar to what we talked about with pleasurable activities as well, is that this can be something that can be scheduled, put into your time. I do this every Wednesday and every Saturday, for example. But then also something you can break out when you need to, if you've had a more difficult day or a more stressful day, right? You can just say, hey, I didn't plan to do this today, but I'm going to break out one of those engaging activities that I know that I like to do. Another thing that is kind of similar to, or that is similar to previous things we've talked about with positive emotion strategies, is this can be something that's done socially or non-socially, meaning this can be something you can do, by yourself at night, for example, at home. But it can also be something that can be beneficial to do socially with other people. If there are things you can do, maybe it's a board game that's really engaging for you, or a game of chess or checkers, or if you play music, playing music with other people, doing art with other people. And usually a mix of those, socially and non-socially, can be pretty good. If you can add variety to this, that's definitely a very helpful thing as well. And hopefully that was helpful today in talking about engaging activities and their benefits, and sort of ways to find activities that are engaging for you, and also ways to sort of engage in them and schedule them. So again, I'm Dr. Matt B, and I'm going to get back to some of this audio mixing, and hopefully that was helpful today, and we will see you next time.